"Can you be my mom for a day?" asked the janitor's daughter, but the millionaire replied, "Just before we start, drop a flag emoji that represents your country." The November rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows of Rivera Tech Industries as Valentina Rivera signed another multi-million-dollar contract without even reading the fine print. At 34 years old, she had built an empire that most people only dreamed of, but the corner office felt emptier than ever. Her assistant had left for the day. The building was nearly deserted, and the only sound was the rhythmic tapping of her Louboutin heels against the marble floor as she walked toward the private elevator. That's when she saw them. A little girl with dark curls sat on the hallway floor outside the janitorial closet, her small hands clutching a worn stuffed rabbit. Next to her stood a man in a grey custodian uniform, his back turned as he organized cleaning supplies. The child looked up as Valentina approached, and their eyes met. Those eyes, deep brown and impossibly wise for someone so young, seemed to see straight through Valentina's designer armor. "I'm Luna," the girl said softly, her voice carrying a strange confidence. "You're the lady who owns everything here, aren't you?" Valentina stopped, surprised. Children never spoke to her. People never spoke to her unless it was about quarterly reports or stock options. "I'm Valentina, and you must be—" "My daughter," the man interrupted, turning around quickly. Samuel Martinez was perhaps 32, with tired eyes that held both pride and worry. "I'm so sorry, Miss Rivera. She shouldn't bother you. Luna, come here right now." But Luna didn't move. She stood up, still clutching her rabbit, and walked closer to Valentina with an unsettling calm. "You look sad," she said simply, "like my daddy when he thinks I'm sleeping." The observation hit Valentina like a physical blow. How did this child see what no one else could? "I'm not sad," she lied, her voice colder than she intended. "I'm busy." "That's what sad people always say," Luna replied, tilting her head. "My teacher says that sometimes grown-ups forget how to be happy because they're too busy pretending." Samuel rushed forward, his face flushed with embarrassment. "Luna, apologize right now. Miss Rivera doesn't have time for—" "It's fine," Valentina heard herself say, though she wasn't sure why. There was something about this child that unsettled her, something that made the carefully constructed walls around her heart feel suddenly fragile. "She's just being honest." Luna's face brightened with a smile that could melt glaciers. "Do you have kids?" "No." "A husband?" "No." "A mommy or daddy?" The question struck deeper than Valentina expected. "Not anymore," she whispered, surprised by her own vulnerability. Her parents had died when she was 19, leaving her with nothing but a small inheritance she had transformed into billions through sheer determination and a heart that refused to feel. Luna seemed to consider this carefully, her young face impossibly serious. Then she asked the question that would change everything. "Can you be my mommy? Just for one day?" The silence that followed was deafening. Samuel's face went pale, and he immediately grabbed Luna's hand. "Luna, that's completely inappropriate. Miss Rivera, I'm so deeply sorry. We'll leave right now. This will never happen again, I promise." But Valentina couldn't move. She stood frozen, staring at this 7-year-old girl who had just asked for something Valentina had never even considered she could give. The request was absurd, impossible, completely out of bounds. She should have said no immediately, should have walked away, should have maintained the professional distance that had always protected her. Instead, she heard herself ask, "Where's your mother?" The change in Luna was immediate and heartbreaking. Her bright smile faded, and she looked down at her worn sneakers. "She went to heaven when I was 4. I don't really remember her face anymore, just her voice singing to me." Samuel's jaw tightened, pain flickering across his features before he masked it with resignation. "We should go. Come on, Luna." "Wait," Valentina said, the word escaping before her rational mind could stop it. She knelt down, her expensive suit crinkling as she came face to face with Luna. Up close, she could see the intelligence in those young eyes, the maturity that comes from experiencing loss too early. "Why would you ask me that? You don't even know me." Luna reached out and touched Valentina's hand with surprising gentleness. Because you need a daughter as much as I need a mommy. I can feel it. You have a big empty space inside, just like me." The words were too perceptive, too knowing for a 7-year-old. Valentina felt something crack inside her chest, a fissure in the ice that had protected her heart for 15 years. "Luna, I don't know anything about being a mother. I wouldn't know where to start." "My daddy says the best things start with saying yes," Luna replied with simple wisdom. Valentina looked up at Samuel, expecting to see anger or judgment. Instead, she saw a man who understood loss, who carried his own burdens with quiet dignity. "This is crazy," she said, but her voice lacked conviction. "Completely insane," Samuel agreed, but there was something in his eyes, hope maybe, or curiosity, about where this impossible moment might lead. "Just one day," Luna pressed, squeezing Valentina's hand. "We could go to the park, and you could push me on the swings, and maybe we could get ice cream, and you could read me a bedtime story. Just pretend, just for a little while." Valentina stood up slowly, her mind racing. Every logical part of her brain screamed that this was inappropriate, that she should walk away, that she had board meetings and investor calls and 100 reasons to say no. But when she looked at Luna's hopeful face and Samuel's cautious eyes, she felt something she hadn't experienced in years, the possibility of connection, of meaning beyond balance sheets and profit margins. "One day," she heard herself say, "this Saturday. But we do this properly. Your father comes too, and we set clear boundaries." Luna's squeal of joy echoed through the empty hallway. She threw her arms around Valentina's waist, the spontaneous affection both foreign and wonderful. Samuel looked shocked, his mouth opening and closing without words. "Miss Rivera, you don't have to do this," he finally managed. "She's just a child. She doesn't understand." "Maybe she understands better than we do," Valentina interrupted, surprising herself. She looked down at Luna, who was beaming up at her with pure happiness. "Saturday morning, 9 o'clock. I'll pick you both up. Where do you live?" Samuel hesitated, clearly uncomfortable. "We're in the old apartments on Harrison Street. Building C, apartment 412. Valentina knew the area. Struggling neighborhood, cramped buildings, a world away from her penthouse overlooking the city. "I'll be there," she promised, then did something completely out of character. She crouched down again and gently touched Luna's cheek. "Don't expect too much from me, sweetheart. I'm not very good at this." "You're already better than you think," Luna said with absolute certainty. "I knew it the moment I saw you." As Valentina walked to the elevator, she could feel their eyes on her back. What had she just agreed to? She was Valentina Rivera, CEO of a tech empire, a woman who made decisions worth billions without hesitation. But this decision, to spend one day pretending to be a mother to a child she'd just met, felt more monumental than any business deal she'd ever closed. The elevator doors closed, and she caught her reflection in the polished metal. For the first time in years, she saw something different in her own eyes. Not the cold calculation that had made her successful, but a flicker of something warmer, something that looked almost like hope. She didn't know it yet, but Luna Martinez had just performed her own kind of miracle, seeing past the armor to the lonely woman underneath and offering her the one thing money couldn't buy, a chance to matter to someone beyond a quarterly report. As the elevator descended, Valentina pulled out her phone to cancel her Saturday morning golf appointment with the board chairman. She paused before hitting send, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "What am I doing?" she whispered to her reflection. But deep down, in a place she had locked away years ago, she already knew the answer. She was taking a chance on something real, something that scared her more than any boardroom battle or hostile takeover ever could. She was taking a chance on love, even if she didn't recognize it yet. And somewhere 42 floors above, a 7-year-old girl with unusual wisdom was already changing the trajectory of both their lives. One innocent request at a time. Saturday morning arrived with unexpected nervousness. Valentina stood in her walk-in closet, staring at racks of designer business suits and evening gowns, realizing she owned nothing appropriate for a day in the park with a 7-year-old. She finally settled on dark jeans, still designer but at least casual, and a cashmere sweater, then immediately felt overdressed. Harrison Street was a 40-minute drive from her neighborhood, a journey that took her through parts of the city she usually only saw from highway overpasses. The buildings grew shabbier, the streets narrower, the cars older. Building C was a faded brick structure with a broken intercom system. Valentina climbed 4 flights of stairs, her heels echoing in the stairwell, and knocked on apartment 412. Samuel opened the door immediately, as if he'd been waiting right behind it. He'd changed from his custodian uniform into clean jeans and a button-down shirt, clearly making an effort. Behind him, the apartment was tiny but immaculately clean. A small living room doubled as Luna's play area, with a bookshelf made from concrete blocks and planks, overflowing with library books. "Miss Rivera," Samuel said formally, "please come in. Luna has been up since 6 o'clock, too excited to sleep." "They call me Valentina," she replied, stepping inside. The apartment was barely larger than her master bathroom, but it radiated warmth that her penthouse had never achieved. Drawings covered the refrigerator, a worn couch held carefully arranged throw pillows, and the scent of fresh coffee filled the air. Luna burst out of the bedroom wearing a yellow dress that was slightly too small, her dark curls pulled back with a bright ribbon. "You came!" she shouted, launching herself at Valentina with complete trust. Valentina caught her awkwardly, unused to such enthusiastic affection. "Of course I came. I promised, didn't I?" "Lots of people promise things," Luna said with surprising seriousness. "But you're different, I can tell." They drove to Riverside Park, Valentina's luxury sedan, drawing stairs in the parking lot. The November air was crisp, leaves crunching underfoot as they walked toward the playground. Luna held Valentina's hand with easy familiarity, chattering about her second-grade class, her teacher, Miss Patterson, and her best friend Marcus, who always shared his cookies at lunch. Samuel walked beside them, quiet but watchful. Valentina noticed how his eyes constantly tracked Luna, how he stayed close enough to intervene, but far enough to let her enjoy her special day. There was a story there, she sensed, something that explained his protective nature. At the swings, Luna tugged Valentina's hand. "Push me, as high as you can!" Valentina had never pushed a child on a swing before. She started tentatively, her hands barely touching Luna's back. "Higher!" Luna called out, laughing. "I want to touch the sky!" "Be careful," Samuel warned, but he was smiling, watching his daughter's joy with obvious pleasure. Valentina pushed harder, and Luna soared upward, her laughter ringing out across the playground. Something shifted in Valentina's chest, a warmth spreading through her that had nothing to do with the physical exertion. This child's happiness depended on her in this moment, and the responsibility felt both terrifying and wonderful. After the swings, they got ice cream from a vendor cart. Luna insisted on chocolate chip, getting it all over her face. Without thinking, Valentina pulled out a tissue and wiped her mouth, then froze, realizing how maternal the gesture had been. "See?" Luna said triumphantly. "You're already good at being a mommy." They found a bench overlooking the river. Luna sat between them, swinging her legs and licking her ice cream cone. Samuel finally spoke, his voice low. "I need you to understand something, Miss Rivera. Valentina, Luna is special. Not just to me because she's my daughter, but genuinely special. She sees things other people don't. She understands things she shouldn't be able to understand at her age." "I noticed," Valentina admitted. "The way she talks, the things she says, she's remarkably perceptive." "It's more than that," Samuel continued, his voice dropping even lower. "Her teachers say she's gifted. IQ tests put her in the genius range. But it's not just intelligence, it's emotional intuition. She reads people like some kind of empath. It's beautiful and terrifying at the same time." Luna had finished her ice cream and wandered a few feet away to watch ducks on the river, giving them a moment of privacy. Valentina studied Samuel's profile, the worry lines around his eyes, the tension in his shoulders, the devotion evident in every glance at his daughter. "Her mother," Valentina started carefully. "You said she died." May I ask what happened? Samuel's jaw clenched. Car accident. 3 years ago, this December, Luna was in the car too. She walked away with minor injuries, but Elena... He paused, clearly struggling. Elena died at the scene. Luna remembers more than a 4-year-old should have to remember. The pain in his voice was palpable. Valentina found herself reaching out, placing her hand on his arm in a gesture of comfort that was entirely unlike her usual professional distance. "I'm so sorry. Luna used to have nightmares every night," Samuel continued. Screaming nightmares about the crash, about losing her mother. Therapy helped, but what really made the difference was her focusing on other people's happiness instead of her own pain. That's why she's so perceptive about emotions. She's looking for ways to fix people because she couldn't fix what happened to her. The revelation hit Valentina hard. This beautiful, wise child was carrying trauma that would have destroyed many adults. "Is that why she asked me? She thinks I need fixing." "Maybe," Samuel admitted. "Or maybe she saw something in you that reminded her of herself. Loneliness recognizes loneliness, even when we try to hide it." Luna came running back, breathless. "And there's a family of ducks, 5 babies and a mommy. Come see." She grabbed both their hands, pulling them toward the water's edge, her earlier solemnity forgotten in childish excitement. They spent the afternoon exploring the park. Luna climbed on the playground equipment with fearless energy, while Valentina and Samuel watched from nearby. They talked more than Valentina had talked to anyone in months. Real conversation, not business strategy or empty social pleasantries. Samuel told her about working 3 jobs after Elena's death, about finally landing the position at Rivera Tech that allowed him to work nights so he could be home when Luna got out of school, about sacrificing his own dreams to give his daughter stability. "What were your dreams?" Valentina asked. He smiled sadly. "Engineering degree. I was 2 semesters from graduating when Elena got pregnant. We got married, I took the custodian job for the health insurance, and life just happened differently than I planned." "You could still finish," Valentina suggested. "On what time? With what money?" He shook his head. "Luna needs me now. Dreams can wait." As afternoon faded to evening, they drove to Valentina's penthouse. Luna had begged to see where the Ice Lady lived, a nickname that made Valentina laugh, despite herself. The child's eyes grew wide as they rode the private elevator to the top floor. "This is where you live," Luna breathed, walking into the massive living room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. "It's like a castle in the sky." But as Luna explored, Valentina saw her home through new eyes. Beautiful, yes. Expensive, certainly. But cold, impersonal. No family photos, no mementos, nothing that indicated a person actually lived here rather than just existed between business meetings. "It's very pretty," Luna said carefully. "But where are the pictures? Where are the things that make you happy?" Valentina had no answer. Samuel looked uncomfortable, clearly aware they were glimpsing a life of privilege beyond his imagination. But Luna seemed less impressed by the luxury than concerned by its emptiness. "I have an idea," Valentina announced suddenly. "Let's make dinner together. Do you like spaghetti, Luna?" "Icko." They cooked together, Luna standing on a chair to help stir the sauce, getting tomato sauce on her yellow dress. Valentina found herself not caring about the mess, too focused on Luna's delighted laughter as she dramatically twirled pasta on her fork. They ate at the dining room table, a piece of furniture Valentina had never actually used, and Luna told stories about school, her hands moving animatedly. After dinner, as promised, it was time for a bedtime story. They settled on the couch, Luna in pajamas Valentina had bought that afternoon during a quick shopping trip. The child curled against her side with natural affection, and Valentina began reading from a book they'd picked up at the bookstore. But halfway through, she realized Luna had fallen asleep, her small body warm and trusting against Valentina's side. Samuel moved to pick her up, but Valentina shook her head. "Just a few more minutes," she whispered. She sat there, this child sleeping peacefully against her, and felt something break open inside her chest. All the years of carefully controlled emotions, of building walls to protect herself from pain, suddenly seemed foolish. Here was Luna, who had experienced devastating loss at 4 years old, still brave enough to love freely, to trust completely, to ask a stranger to be her mother for a day. "Thank you," Samuel said softly from the armchair across from them. "You gave her something precious today. A moment of normalcy, of feeling like other kids who have mothers, to push them on swings and make them dinner." "She gave me more," Valentina replied, surprising herself with the admission. "I didn't realize how empty everything had become until she showed me what I was missing." Samuel carefully lifted Luna, who stirred but didn't wake. As he carried her toward the door, the child's eyes fluttered open briefly. "Best day ever," she mumbled sleepily. "Can we do it again next Saturday, Mommy?" The word "Mommy" hit Valentina like lightning. Luna was already asleep again, probably wouldn't even remember saying it, but Valentina would remember. She would remember the innocent trust in that word, the hope it carried, the impossible request it contained. "I should correct her," Samuel said apologetically at the door. "This was just for one day. I don't want her getting confused or attached." "Next Saturday," Valentina interrupted. 9 o'clock, I'll pick you both up." Samuel stared at her. "Miss Rivera, we can't ask you to—" "You're not asking, I'm offering. One day wasn't enough. I need—" She paused, searching for words to explain something she barely understood herself. "I need more time with both of you." As she closed the door behind them, Valentina stood in her empty penthouse and felt it differently. The silence that had once been comfortable now seemed lonely. The perfect minimalist design now looked sterile. Everything she had built, all her success and wealth, suddenly felt meaningless compared to the warmth of a 7-year-old's hand in hers and the sound of her laughter. She walked to the window and looked out at the glittering city below. Somewhere out there, in a cramped apartment 40 minutes away, a little girl was sleeping and dreaming of next Saturday. And for the first time in 15 years, Valentina Rivera was looking forward to something that had nothing to do with profit margins or quarterly reports. She was looking forward to being someone's mother, even if she had no idea how to do it, even if it scared her more than any boardroom battle ever had, even if it meant risking the heart she had worked so hard to protect. Luna had asked if Valentina could be her mother for just one day, and Valentina's answer had become crystal clear. One day would never be enough, not anymore. But neither of them knew yet how complicated this simple wish would become, or what devastating secrets were still waiting to be uncovered. The following weeks transformed into a pattern that felt both natural and surreal. Every Saturday, Valentina would drive to Harrison Street, and every Saturday, Luna would be waiting at the window, bouncing with excitement. They explored the city together. Museums, botanical gardens, the zoo, places Valentina had never visited despite living in the city her entire adult life. Samuel came on most of these outings, but sometimes when he had to work an extra shift, he allowed Valentina to take Luna alone, a trust that felt sacred and terrifying. On their 4th Saturday together, Luna asked to see Valentina's office. They arrived at Rivera Tech Industries on a weekend when the building was nearly empty. Luna held Valentina's hand in the elevator, her eyes wide as they ascended to the 42nd floor. "This is where my daddy works?" Luna asked, looking around the gleaming lobby. "The janitorial offices are on the 3rd floor," Valentina explained. "But yes, this is the building." Luna walked into Valentina's office, immediately drawn to the massive windows. "You can see everything from here, the whole world." She turned back, her expression unusually serious. "Does it feel lonely being up so high?" The question cut through Valentina's defenses. "Sometimes," she admitted. "Before I met you, I thought I liked being alone. Now I'm not so sure." Luna climbed into Valentina's executive chair, her feet dangling above the floor. "My daddy says you're the most important person in the whole building, that you make decisions that affect hundreds of people." "That's true," Valentina said, perching on the edge of her desk. Then why do you look sad when you think nobody's watching? Luna asked with her characteristic directness. Valentina had learned not to deflect Luna's pointed questions. The child had an uncanny ability to know when adults were being dishonest. Because success doesn't always mean happiness, sweetheart. I learned too late that building an empire doesn't fill the empty spaces inside you. Luna nodded as if this made perfect sense to a 7-year-old. That's why you needed me, and why I needed you. We're both good at filling empty spaces. Over the following weeks, their relationship deepened in unexpected ways. Valentina found herself calling Luna after difficult board meetings, needing to hear the child's perspective on the world. Luna would tell her about school drama, playground politics that somehow seemed more authentic than corporate maneuvering. Samuel began joining them for dinners at Valentina's penthouse, initially uncomfortable with the luxury, but gradually relaxing as Luna's happiness became the focus. One evening in early December, after Luna had fallen asleep on the couch during a movie, Samuel and Valentina talked late into the night. He told her more about Elena, how they'd met in high school, how she'd been the brave one, the dreamer, the one who pushed him to take risks. "She would have liked you," Samuel said quietly. "She always believed in unexpected connections, in trusting your instincts even when logic said otherwise." "I'm not replacing her," Valentina said carefully. "I would never try to—" "I know," Samuel interrupted gently. "And that's exactly why this works. You're not trying to be Elena. You're being yourself, and that's what Luna needs. Different kinds of love, not replacements." Their eyes met, and Valentina felt something shift between them. What had started as an arrangement for Luna's sake was becoming something more complex. Samuel was unlike any man she'd ever known, genuine, humble, devoted to his daughter above all else. And she found herself thinking about him at odd moments during her workday, wondering what he'd think about a particular decision, wanting to share small victories with him. But she pushed those feelings aside. This was about Luna. It had to stay about Luna. The week before Christmas, Luna asked Valentina to come to her school's winter concert. She had a solo in the choir performance, and she wanted both her parents there. Valentina sat in the elementary school auditorium, surrounded by families, feeling both out of place and exactly where she belonged. When Luna stepped forward to sing, her clear voice filled the room, and Valentina felt tears slide down her cheeks, the first time she'd cried in years. After the concert, a woman approached them. She was well-dressed, probably early 50s, with sharp eyes that assessed Valentina with obvious curiosity. "Samuel," she said warmly, hugging him. "And this must be the famous Valentina. I'm Margaret Patterson, Luna's teacher." They shook hands, and Miss Patterson's smile was knowing. "Luna talks about you constantly. Her essay about my family featured you prominently. She wrote that you're teaching her that family isn't just about blood, but about who shows up and who stays." Valentina's throat tightened. "She wrote that, word for word," Miss Patterson confirmed. She lowered her voice, glancing at where Luna was showing Samuel her choir certificate. "I need to tell you something. Luna's gift, her intelligence, her emotional perception, it's extraordinary. I've been teaching for 28 years, and I've never seen anything quite like her. She needs challenges, opportunities, specialized education." "What are you suggesting?" Samuel asked, having caught the tail end of the conversation. Miss Patterson hesitated. "There's a private academy, Madison Preparatory, that specializes in gifted children. They've offered Luna a full scholarship based on her test scores. It would be an incredible opportunity, but—" She looked uncomfortable. "It's a boarding school. She'd live there during the week, come home on weekends." Samuel's face went pale. "Boarding school? She's 7 years old. I won't send her away." "Of course not," Valentina said quickly, seeing his distress. But her mind was already working through the implications. Luna needed more than her current school could offer. She needed an environment that could nurture her exceptional abilities. But the thought of her being sent away felt wrong. What if there was another option? Valentina found herself saying. What if Luna could attend Madison Preparatory as a day student? Miss Patterson shook her head. It's too far. Nearly an hour's drive each way. Samuel works nights, and what if she didn't have to make that drive every day? Valentina interrupted, an idea forming. What if they lived closer to the school? Samuel stared at her. Valentina, I can't afford. I have a property, she continued, the plan solidifying as she spoke. A townhouse near Madison Prep. It's been vacant since I bought it as an investment. You and Luna could live there, no rent. Close to her school, close to my office, so I can still see you both regularly. Absolutely not, Samuel said firmly. I won't take charity. I won't be some kept man while you— It's not charity, Valentina interrupted, her voice sharp with frustration. It's an investment in Luna's future, in giving her opportunities she deserves. Pride is fine, Samuel, but not when it limits your daughter's potential. They stared at each other, tension crackling between them. Luna chose that moment to run up, throwing her arms around both of them. Did you see me sing? Did you see? You were magnificent, Valentina said, forcing a smile despite the argument. The star of the show. That night, after Samuel and Luna had gone home, Valentina stood in her penthouse and realized something that both thrilled and terrified her. She wasn't just playing at being Luna's mother anymore. She was making decisions like a parent, thinking about Luna's future, willing to have difficult conversations with Samuel about what was best for their child. Their child. When had she started thinking of Luna that way? Her phone rang. Samuel's name appeared on the screen. She answered, expecting continued argument about the townhouse. Instead, his voice was quiet, almost broken. I need your help. Something's happened. Valentina's heart seized. Where are you? Is Luna okay? She's asleep, but— He paused. Can you come to my apartment? Please. I can't talk about this over the phone. 20 minutes later, Valentina was climbing the stairs to apartment 412, her heart pounding. Samuel opened the door immediately, his face drawn with worry. Luna was indeed asleep in her bedroom, her stuffed rabbit tucked under her arm. What happened? Valentina demanded. Samuel handed her an envelope. It bore no return address, just his name written in feminine handwriting. Inside was a single sheet of paper and a photograph. Valentina's hands shook as she read. Samuel, I know you think I'm dead, but I'm not. I had my reasons for disappearing, for letting everyone believe I died in that accident, but now I want to see my daughter. I'm coming back, and you can't stop me. Luna deserves to know the truth about what really happened that night, about why I had to leave, about what you did. Tell her I love her. Tell her Mommy's coming home. Elena. The photograph showed a woman who looked startlingly like an older version of Luna. Same dark curls, same intelligent eyes. But there was something off about the image, something that felt staged. Valentina looked up at Samuel, who had sunk onto the couch, his head in his hands. She's alive, Valentina whispered. I don't know, Samuel said, his voice hollow. The accident was real. They identified her body. She was cremated. Her parents had a funeral. But this letter— He looked up, and Valentina saw fear in his eyes. What if I'm wrong? What if she somehow survived and I mourned her while she was alive somewhere, or worse? What if this is someone trying to scam us, to hurt Luna? There's another possibility, Valentina said slowly, her analytical mind cutting through emotion. What if someone knows Elena is really dead and is using that knowledge to manipulate you, to get money, or to hurt you? Why would anyone do that? I don't know, Valentina admitted, but we need to find out, and we need to protect Luna until we do. They talked until dawn, making plans, discussing options. By the time the sun rose over the city, they had decided to hire a private investigator to keep the letter secret from Luna until they knew more, and to increase security. And Valentina had insisted on something else. Samuel and Luna would move into the townhouse immediately, not for Luna's education, but for their safety. If someone was targeting them, they needed to be somewhere harder to find, somewhere Valentina could help protect them. Samuel had finally agreed, too shaken to argue. As Valentina drove home that morning, exhaustion pulling at her, she realized that everything had changed again. What had started as playing pretend mommy for a day had become real in ways she never imagined. Luna wasn't just a child she cared about, she was a daughter she would fight for. And Samuel wasn't just Luna's father, he was someone she trusted, someone she was starting to need in her life. But now there was a threat. Either Elena was alive and coming back to reclaim her daughter, or someone was cruel enough to fake her return. Either scenario was devastating, and Valentina knew, with bone-deep certainty, that she would do whatever it took to protect Luna from being hurt. She had spent 15 years building walls around her heart. Luna had demolished them in 6 weeks. And now Valentina would use every resource, every connection, every dollar at her disposal to make sure that little girl's world stayed safe and secure. What she didn't know yet was that the truth about Eleanor's death was far more complicated than either scenario they'd imagined. And when the full story finally emerged, it would test everything the townhouse on Maple Street was, everything Samuel's apartment wasn't. Spacious, bright, with a backyard where Luna could play safely. Moving day happened quickly, Valentina coordinating everything with the efficiency she usually reserved for corporate acquisitions. Luna ran through the empty rooms, her laughter echoing off hardwood floors. "This one's mine?" Luna asked, standing in a bedroom twice the size of her entire previous living space. "Really mine?" "Really yours," Valentina confirmed, watching Samuel's conflicted expression as he stood in the doorway. They settled into a new routine. Valentina hired Marcus Webb, a retired police detective turned private investigator, to trace the mysterious letter. Meanwhile, she enrolled Luna at Madison Preparatory. Luna started classes after winter break, her exceptional abilities finally being properly challenged, but the threat of Elena's letter hung over them like a storm cloud. Every night, after Luna was asleep, Valentina and Samuel would discuss Marcus's latest findings. The handwriting analysis was inconclusive. The photograph appeared authentic, but could have been taken years ago. There was no trace of Elena Martinez anywhere. "It's like she really is dead," Marcus told them. "Or whoever wrote this letter is very good at covering their tracks." Luna thrived in her new school, coming home daily bursting with stories about advanced math and science experiments. She made friends, other gifted children who understood her unusual way of seeing the world. Miss Chen called Valentina weekly with glowing reports. But Luna wasn't completely fooled. One evening in late January, she climbed onto the couch next to Valentina with those 2 knowing eyes. "You're scared about something," Luna said simply. "You and Daddy both. Is it about my mommy? The one who died?" Valentina's heart stopped. "Why would you ask that?" "Because you both started acting different after Daddy got something in the mail. I'm not a baby. I know when grown-ups are keeping secrets." Samuel entered the room, freezing when he heard Luna's words. He and Valentina exchanged a long look. "Come here, sweetheart," Samuel said, sitting beside her. "Someone sent Daddy a letter claiming to be your mother." Luna's face went very still. "But Mommy died. I remember the hospital. I remember them telling me she went to heaven." "We know," Valentina said gently, "and we believe she did. But this letter scared us because we don't know who would pretend to be her or why." "To hurt you," Luna said matter-of-factly. "Mean people do mean things sometimes." "That's probably true, but we're being careful. Mr. Marcus is helping us find out who sent the letter." Luna considered this seriously, then said something that chilled them. "What if it really is her? What would happen then?" "Then we deal with it together," Valentina promised. "All 3 of us, because that's what families do." "You'd still be my mommy too?" Luna asked, vulnerability clear in her voice. "Always," Valentina promised. "Nothing could change that. You asked me to be your mother, and I said yes. That's forever, Luna." Luna threw her arms around Valentina's neck. Over her shoulder, Valentina saw tears in Samuel's eyes. He mouthed 2 words, "Thank you." The second letter arrived in February, delivered to the townhouse. This one was more specific, demanding a midnight meeting at Riverside Park. Marcus examined the envelope, his expression grim. "Someone's been watching you. We found evidence of surveillance. A rental car parked across the street multiple times. Professional tale. They've been watching Luna." Samuel's face went pale. "Which is why we're upgrading security," Valentina said firmly, "and treating this meeting as the trap it is." They argued for hours, but ultimately agreed on a compromise. Samuel would go, but Marcus's team would be positioned around the park. Valentina would wait in the surveillance van. Friday night arrived cold and moonless. Valentina sat in the cramped van watching grainy video feeds. Luna was safe at the townhouse with security, believing her father and Valentina were at a late dinner. Midnight came and went. Then movement on the screen. A woman emerged from shadows, sitting beside Samuel on the bench. "Can we get audio?" Valentina demanded. Marcus adjusted controls, and suddenly they heard the conversation. "Elena!" Samuel's voice shook. "Is it really you?" The woman pulled back her hood. The resemblance to Luna was striking. Same dark curls, same facial structure. "Hello, Samuel," the woman said. "Surprised to see me?" "You died," Samuel whispered. "I mourned you." "Luna mourned you. Who did we bury?" "A Jane Doe from the county morgue," Elena said. "Castellano had someone inside, a corrupt deputy coroner. They switched my dental records to cover up their attempted hit. I used that confusion to disappear." "Why?" Samuel's voice broke. "Luna was 4 years old. She needed her mother." "The crash wasn't an accident," Elena explained. "Castellano's people ran us off the road. I witnessed a murder, Samuel. They were trying to kill me. When I survived, I had a choice: go into hiding or watch them come after Luna next." Samuel stood, his voice harder than Valentina had ever heard. "You abandoned her. You let her believe you were dead. You missed 3 years of her life. You don't get to just come back. I'm her mother. Legally, I have rights. Watch me try to stop you," Samuel said. "Explain to a judge why you faked your death and where you've been." Elena's expression shifted. "That's where your rich girlfriend comes in." "But I know things, Samuel. The accident wasn't random. Someone ran us off the road deliberately, and you saw the car. You told me you did. But you never reported it because you were scared." Valentina saw Samuel stiffen. Sudden movement interrupted them. 2 men emerged, moving towards Samuel and Elena with clear intent. Marcus cursed, radioing his team. "It's a set-up," Valentina gasped. But Elena screamed. The men weren't with her, they were after her. Samuel lunged forward despite everything. Marcus's team rushed in. Within seconds, chaos erupted. When the dust settled, both men were in custody. Elena had vanished, and Samuel had a split lip and bruised knuckles. At the townhouse, Samuel kept repeating, "She's alive, she's really alive, and she's involved in something dangerous." Marcus identified the 2 men, professional criminals. "Elena is mixed up with organized crime. Those men were after her. She's either working for people who want her dead or trying to escape them." "What do we tell Luna?" Samuel asked desperately. "Nothing yet," Valentina decided. "Not until we know more." But keeping secrets from Luna proved difficult. She knew something had happened. A week later, she came home with a drawing, 3 figures holding hands, and a 4th figure, shadowy and separate, in the corner. "Who's this?" Valentina asked, pointing to the shadow. "Someone who used to be part of the family but got lost," Luna said quietly. "Sometimes people get lost and can't find their way home because they're too broken." Valentina pulled her close. "You are so loved. By me, by your father. Whatever happens, that will never change." "I know," Luna said. "That's why I'm not scared. As long as I have you and Daddy, I can handle anything." And that night, Valentina reviewed Marcus's report. Elena had lived 3 years under assumed names, always moving. The reason was clear. She'd witnessed a crime involving powerful people. The accident wasn't random. Someone tried to silence her. She'd faked her death to survive, leaving Luna behind believing she was protecting her daughter. But those same people had found her again, and they knew about Luna. Valentina made a decision. She called her head of security, former FBI agent Sarah Chen. Within hours, the townhouse had enhanced security, Luna had protection at school, and Valentina began pulling strings with law enforcement contacts. She'd spent years building an empire. Now she'd use every skill, every resource to protect her family, because that's what Luna and Samuel had become, her family, not by blood, but by choice. Luna had asked Valentina to be her mother for one day, and Valentina discovered motherhood wasn't about biology. It was about fierce love that made you willing to face any threat, take any risk. As Valentina listened to Samuel getting Luna ready for bed upstairs, their laughter, their easy affection, she knew she'd found something worth more than billions. But the storm was far from over. Elena's reappearance had opened a door to danger, and the truth about what really happened 3 years ago would soon change everything. March brought an unexpected ally. Sarah Chen's contacts included FBI agent David Morris, who'd been investigating the criminal organization that targeted Eleanor. He requested a meeting. Agent Morris spread photographs across the conference table, men in suits, surveillance shots, crime scenes. Elena Martinez witnessed a murder 3 years ago, Morris explained. Victor Castellano, head of organized crime, killed a rival. Elena was a paralegal working late and saw it through a window. Castellano's people tried to eliminate her. The car accident was their first attempt. Samuel's hands clenched. And you did nothing? We didn't know the witness's identity, Morris said calmly. Elena never came forward. After the crash, we investigated irregularities with body identification. Castellano had a deputy coroner on his payroll who switched dental records, made it look like Elena died to cover up their hit. By the time we realized something was wrong, the corrupt coroner had disappeared and Elena was gone. We've been looking for her for 3 years. So the switch wasn't Elena's plan? Valentina asked. Exactly. Castellano's people wanted no murder investigation. Elena used that confusion to disappear. When Castellano figured out his witness was alive, she'd already vanished. That's why she came back, Valentina said. She needs protection. Correct, but there's a complication. She won't testify unless Luna is included in witness protection. She wants Luna back, wants to take her into hiding. Absolutely not, Samuel and Valentina said simultaneously. Morris held up his hands. I'm telling you her demands. Here's what you need to understand. As long as Elena lives and Castellano knows it, Luna is at risk. If he can't find Elena, he'll use Luna as leverage. What are our options? Valentina asked. Option 1. Elena testifies, goes into protection. Luna goes with her. You lose her, but she's safe with her biological mother. No, Samuel said flatly. Option 2. Elena testifies alone. We provide security for Luna here. Not permanent. Castellano has long reach. Option 3. Morris hesitated. We take down Castellano's entire organization. But that requires months of investigation. During that time, you're vulnerable. We need to talk to Elena, Valentina decided. Can you arrange that? Tomorrow, 2 p.m., safe house. But she'll only meet if you bring Luna. No, Samuel repeated. I'm not exposing. She needs to see Luna is okay, Morris interrupted. Otherwise she won't cooperate. That night, Valentina and Samuel sat in the darkened living room long after Luna slept. What Elena said at the park, Valentina started. About you seeing who ran you off the road. Was that true? Samuel was quiet. Yes. A black SUV with tinted windows. I saw it swerve deliberately. I saw Elena lose control. I saw it speed away while our car rolled. Why didn't you tell police? Elena begged me not to. In the hospital, before they told me she was dead, she grabbed my hand and said, "Don't tell them anything. They'll kill Luna next." Those were her last words to me. I thought she was delirious, but I kept my promise. You've been carrying that guilt for 3 years. Every day, wondering if I could have prevented this. Or maybe you'd all be dead, Valentina countered. You protected Luna. That took courage. Their eyes met in the dim light, and something shifted between them. I don't know what I would have done without you, Samuel said quietly. You gave Luna happiness and gave me hope. There's nothing normal about this. Valentina smiled slightly. Samuel, if Elena wants Luna back legally, she gave up those rights when she faked her death, Samuel interrupted firmly. Luna has a mother now. You. That little girl upstairs adores you. But a court might disagree. Then we fight, Samuel said with steel in his voice. We get lawyers. We use your resources, whatever it takes. Luna is ours, Valentina. I'm asking you to fight for her like she's your own daughter. She is my own daughter, Valentina said fiercely, and I will fight. For her, for you, for all of us. The next day they made the hardest decision. They would bring Luna to meet her biological mother, but prepare her first. Over breakfast, they explained gently that her mother was alive, had been hiding to protect Luna, and wanted to see her. Luna's reaction surprised them. She looked at them with those wise eyes and asked, "Will I have to go away with her?" "Not if you don't want to," Valentina promised. "I don't want to," Luna said simply. "I love her because she's my first mommy, and I'm glad she's not dead, but I don't know her anymore. You're my mommy now. Can I tell her that?" "You can tell her whatever you need to," Samuel said, pulling her close. The safe house was a suburban home with FBI agents stationed outside. Luna held Valentina's hand firmly and walked inside with quiet determination. Elena stood when they entered. "Luna," she breathed, "you've gotten so big, so beautiful." Luna studied her carefully. "You look different than I remember, like a picture that got blurry and came back into focus." Elena laughed through tears, holding out her arms. "Can I hug you?" Luna glanced at Valentina, who nodded. Luna walked forward slowly and let Elena embrace her, but her arms stayed at her sides. "I've missed you so much," Elena said, kneeling. "Every day, everything I did was to keep you safe." "Why didn't you call?" Luna asked. "Daddy has a phone." "I couldn't risk it. If anyone traced calls, they could have found you." "It wasn't safer for me," Luna said with devastating honesty. "I had nightmares for 2 years. I cried every night. I thought you died because I was bad." Elena's tears flowed. "Oh, baby, no. You were perfect. I left because I love you. But I didn't just want to live," Luna said steadily. "I wanted a mommy, and now I have one." She turned and held out her hand to Valentina. "This is my mommy now. She reads to me every night and comes to my school concerts. She's my family." Elena's face hardened. "So you buy my family with your money?" "Nobody bought anything," Samuel said sharply. "Valentina showed up. She stayed. She loved Luna when Luna needed love. Where were you?" "Trying to stay alive," Elena shot back. "You think I wanted this. I did what I had to do. Now I'm ready to testify, get protection, and take my daughter somewhere safe." "I don't want to go," Luna said clearly. "I want to stay with my daddy and mommy Valentina." "I don't really know you anymore." Elena looked at Morris. "You promised I could have my daughter back." "I said we'd arrange a meeting," Morris corrected. "She's 7 years old. She has opinions. We can't force her into protection against her will." Elena's desperation was palpable. "Samuel, please. She's our daughter, our child." "Doesn't that mean anything?" "It means everything," Samuel said quietly. "But so does the past 3 years. Luna has built a new life. You can't erase that." "Then what?" Elena demanded. "I testify and just walk away." "We're saying Luna needs time," Valentina interjected. "She needs to know you again, slowly, safely. Maybe supervised visits, therapy. But she stays with us, while you play mother to my child." "While I be her mother," Valentina corrected firmly. "Because that's what she needs. There's room in her life for both of us, if you put her needs first." Luna walked back to Elena and took her hand. "I'm glad you're alive. Maybe someday we can have tea parties, but right now I need to stay where I feel safe. Is that okay?" Elena looked down at her daughter. "You're so much stronger than I was. When did you get so grown up?" "When I had to," Luna said. "But it's okay. Sometimes it means you know what you need." The meeting ended with tentative agreement. Elena would testify with FBI protection. She'd be relocated after trial, but allowed supervised video calls once monthly. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. As they left, Luna squeezed Valentina's hand. "Are you sad I might want to see her sometimes?" Valentina knelt. I'm not scared, sweetheart. Love isn't a competition. You can love your birth mother and me at the same time. That's what I thought, Luna said with satisfaction. Hearts are bigger than people think. That night, tucking Luna in, the child asked, "Are you and Daddy going to get married? Because that would make us a real family officially." Valentina froze. She and Samuel hadn't discussed anything romantic, but he'd become someone she looked for at day's end, someone whose opinion mattered, someone who understood her. "Would you want that?" Valentina asked carefully. "Duh," Luna said with an eye roll. "You love him, he loves you. You both love me, that's what families are. Why make it complicated?" Why indeed, Valentina thought. Out of the mouths of babes came wisdom adults spent years trying to understand. The trial was set for May. Until then, they lived in strange limbo, enhanced security, careful routines, constant awareness of danger. But within that bubble, something beautiful was growing. A family, unconventional and hard-won, but real. And Valentina Rivera, who'd spent 15 years building an empire of steel and glass, discovered the most important thing she'd ever built was this: a home filled with love, laughter, and a 7-year-old girl who taught her that the bravest thing you could do was open your heart. May arrived with spring flowers and mounting tension. Victor Castellano's trial had begun, and Elena's testimony was scheduled for the second week. The media picked up the story, and Luna's face was across news websites. Valentina used every connection to keep Luna's location private, but the attention was overwhelming. The night before Elena's testimony, Valentina received an unexpected call, her private number. "Miss Rivera, Robert Hayes, Elena Martinez's father, Luna's grandfather. I need to speak with you." Valentina's mind raced. Samuel had mentioned Elena's parents briefly. Devastated by her death, they'd blamed Samuel and moved to Florida after the funeral. No contact with Luna in 3 years. "I'm listening. I know about the trial. Elena called me last week." His voice broke. 3 years we mourned our daughter, and she was alive. I don't know how to process that. I can't imagine what you're going through. But I'm calling about Luna. I've seen the news coverage, pictures of you with her. Some articles are sympathetic. Some suggest ulterior motives, that you're using a child for publicity. Valentina's jaw tightened. "People will always be cruel. It doesn't change the truth." "What is the truth, Miss Rivera? Why are you really doing this?" She answered with complete honesty. "Because a 7-year-old girl asked me to be her mother for 1 day, and in that day she showed me what my life had been missing. I'm doing this because I love her, completely, fiercely. She's my daughter in every way that matters." Silence. Then, "My wife and I are coming to the trial. We want to see Elena testify, and we want to meet Luna, our granddaughter." Valentina's protective instincts flared. "Luna has been through tremendous stress. Adding more new people." "She's our granddaughter," Robert interrupted firmly. "She deserves to know she has grandparents who love her. We're not asking for custody. We're asking for a chance to be part of her family." After long conversation, Valentina agreed to arrange a meeting after Elena's testimony. Elena's testimony was scheduled for Thursday. Valentina attended, leaving Luna at school with extra security. She sat beside Samuel and Agent Morris, watching Elena take the stand. The woman had aged, stress showing clearly. Elena's testimony was detailed and devastating. She described witnessing Castellano shoot a man, described his men discovering her, described the chase and the accident. "I realized what had happened," Elena testified. "Castellano's people switched records to make the investigation go away quietly. They thought I was dead. I understood that was my only chance, to stay dead, to disappear before they realized their mistake. Why come forward now?" Elena looked at the jury. "Because hiding wasn't protecting my daughter. It was prolonging the danger. As long as Castellano is free, Luna will never be safe. I had to stop running and start fighting. For her, for the chance that maybe someday she could forgive me." The defense was brutal, painting Elena as unstable, a liar, but Elena held firm. On the third day, everything changed. Valentina was in her office when Morris called. Urgent. "We have a situation. Castellanos people know where Luna goes to school. We intercepted communications about a planned abduction." Valentina's blood turned to ice. She was already running. "Is she safe?" "School is in lockdown. My team is there. Meet us at the safe house in 20 minutes. When Valentina arrived, Samuel was pacing. Luna sat surrounded by FBI agents, looking small and scared but trying to be brave. "Mommy!" Luna ran to Valentina, who swept her into her arms. "I've got you," Valentina whispered. "You're safe." Morris explained the situation. Castellanos' organization planned to grab Luna, use her as leverage to force Elena to recant. The plot was thwarted, but it proved they'd stop at nothing. "We need to relocate all of you," Morris said. "Tonight. New identities, witness protection." "No," Luna said clearly. "I don't want a new identity. I don't want to be someone else. I want to be Luna Martinez. I want my school and my friends and my home." "Sweetheart, it's not safe," Samuel started. "Then make it safe." Luna's voice rose. "You're all adults with guns and badges and money. Figure out how to keep me safe without making me disappear. I already lost one mommy to hiding. I'm not losing my whole life, too." The outburst shocked everyone. Valentina knelt in front of her. "You're right. You're absolutely right. We should be protecting you, not asking you to give up everything. Let me make some calls." Over the next 48 hours, Valentina orchestrated comprehensive private security. She hired former Secret Service agents, installed military-grade security, arranged armored transportation. She created a fortress around Luna's daily life. The trial concluded with Castellano convicted on multiple charges. Life without parole. His organization began to crumble. Elena entered witness protection, relocating with a new identity. Before she left, one final meeting with Luna. They met at the safe house, atmosphere bittersweet. Elena hugged her daughter for a long time, memorizing everything about her. "I'm so proud of you," Elena whispered. "You're braver than I ever was. Stronger too." "I learned from good people," Luna said. "My daddy and mommy Valentina taught me that being brave doesn't mean not being scared. It means doing the right thing even when you are scared." Elena looked at Valentina. "Thank you for loving her, for being what I couldn't be, for showing up every day." "I'm the one who should thank you," Valentina replied. "You gave me the greatest gift, a daughter, a family." Elena turned back to Luna. "Will you write to me? Agent Morris says we can exchange letters through the FBI. I'll write every week," Luna promised. "And maybe when I'm older, when it's really safe, we can meet again." "I'd like that very much." They said goodbye with promises and tears. As Elena drove away, Luna stood between Valentina and Samuel, holding their hands. "Is it okay to be sad and happy at the same time?" Luna asked. "That's called being human," Samuel said gently. The next day, they met Robert and Catherine Hayes at a quiet restaurant. Luna's grandparents were nervous. Catherine cried when she saw Luna. "You look just like your mother at your age," she whispered. The meeting was emotional but beautiful. Robert and Catherine brought photo albums, pictures of Elena as a child, wedding photos with Samuel. Luna pored over images, asking questions, building a bridge to a history she'd never known. Plans were made. Robert and Catherine would visit monthly, video calls weekly. They'd be grandparents, part of Luna's support system, her extended family. Summer arrived. Luna finished second grade with highest honors. The threat had dissipated. Life began to feel almost normal. One Saturday in June, Valentina organized a picnic at Riverside Park. Luna played on swings, while Valentina and Samuel sat on a blanket. "I've been thinking," Samuel said carefully, "about what Luna said months ago, about us getting married." Valentina's heart stuttered. "Oh?" Samuel turned to face her. "I love you, Valentina. I think I started falling in love with you that first night. You could have walked away at any moment, but you kept showing up, kept choosing us." "Samuel, let me finish. I know this started because of Luna, but it's become so much more. When I think about the future, I can't imagine it without you. Not just as Luna's parent, but as my partner, My love, he pulled out a small box. I can't afford the kind of ring a billionaire expects. This was my grandmother's. It's not fancy, but it's full of love and history and hope. Valentina Rivera, will you marry me? Valentina looked at the simple gold band with a small diamond. It was more beautiful than any jewelry in her collection. Yes, she whispered. Yes, 1,000 times, yes. Luna's squeal made them jump. She'd been eavesdropping. She came running, launching herself at them. You said yes. We're going to be a real family. They laughed through tears, tangled together on the blanket. The wedding took place 3 months later in the townhouse garden, intimate and perfect. Luna served as maid of honor. Robert and Catherine Hayes attended, as did Valentina's associates who'd never seen her so happy. Morris came with news that Elena was thriving and had sent congratulations. When the officiant asked if anyone objected, Luna stood dramatically. For a horrified moment, everyone froze. Then she announced, I don't object, but I have something important to say. I asked Valentina to be my mommy for just 1 day, and she said yes. But then she kept saying yes every single day, even when things got scary. That's what real love is, saying yes every day, not just once. So I think this marriage is going to work. You may now kiss and stuff. The garden erupted in laughter and applause. That night, after guests left, the three sat in their living room. Luna had fallen asleep between her parents on the couch, still in her fancy dress. Remember when this started? Samuel whispered. When she asked that impossible question? Best decision I ever made, Valentina replied, stroking Luna's hair. This child changed my entire life in 1 moment. She has that effect, seeing what people need before they know it. They sat in comfortable silence, the family they'd built against all odds. The following year brought new adventures. Valentina stepped back from day-to-day operations, appointing a COO while she worked remotely. Samuel returned to school part-time, pursuing his engineering degree. Luna continued to thrive. Elena's monthly letters arrived like clockwork, full of details about her new life. She sent birthday cards and gifts, maintaining healthy connection. Luna wrote back faithfully, sharing achievements and milestones. On Luna's 9th birthday, the family gathered in their backyard. Robert and Catherine were there, along with Luna's school friends. As Valentina watched Luna blow out candles surrounded by love, she marveled at the journey. A journey that started with a child's innocent question, "Can you be my mommy for 1 day?" Luna caught her eye and smiled, that same wise smile. She mouthed 3 words, "Best day ever." And Valentina knew she meant all of them, every single day they'd spent building this family. That night, tucking Luna in, Valentina sat on the bed's edge as she had hundreds of times. "Mommy Valentina, do you think I knew? That first day when I asked you? Do you think some part of me knew you'd say yes to more than just 1 day?" Valentina considered seriously. "I think you're extraordinary, sweetheart. I think you saw something in me I couldn't see, someone ready to love but too scared to try. You gave me permission to be brave." "That's what I thought," Luna said. "Because when I saw you, you looked like Daddy and me, lonely and sad but hiding it. And I knew if we could be lonely together, maybe we wouldn't be lonely anymore. Maybe we'd just be family." Simple wisdom, cutting through complexity to reach truth. "I love you, Luna Martinez Rivera," Valentina whispered. "I love you too, Mommy," Luna replied, drifting towards sleep. "Best choice I ever made." Best choice I ever made was saying yes. As she closed the door, Valentina reflected on the incredible journey. She'd gone from cold, isolated CEO to a woman whose greatest achievement wasn't building a tech empire, it was building a family. Luna had asked for 1 day of motherhood, and Valentina had given her a lifetime. But the truth was, Luna had given Valentina something far more valuable, a reason to be more than successful, a reason to be happy. They'd faced dangers, navigated complex family dynamics, fought battles, but through it all, they'd chosen each other. Every single day, they'd chosen love over fear, family over convenience. And that choice, that daily decision to show up and love fiercely, made all the difference. Years later, when Luna was grown, she'd tell people about the day that changed everything. She'd talk about how one moment of bravery, asking for what you need, can transform lives. She'd tell them family isn't always about blood. Sometimes it's about courage. Sometimes it's about a lonely CEO and a janitor's daughter meeting in a hallway and recognizing in each other something desperately needed: connection, love, and belonging. And she'd always end. My mommy taught me that the bravest thing you can do is say yes to love, even when it's scary, even when it changes everything. She said yes to me, and that yes changed all our lives forever. In the end, that's exactly what happened. One word, yes, became a lifetime. One day became forever. And 3 lonely people became a family that proved love doesn't require biology, only commitment, compassion, and courage to keep showing up every single day.